Welcome to The Digital Dilemma, the podcast where we tackle the biggest challenges and opportunities in today's ever-evolving digital landscape. I am Nick Dreyfus, and in this episode, we're diving into one of the most pressing topics for CEOs of mid-sized organizations: cloud technology adoption. The cloud promises flexibility, scalability, and cost savings, but is it always the right move? How do you navigate security risks, hidden cost, and the constant evolution of the cloud and its services? And most importantly, how do you ensure your cloud strategy aligns with your business objectives and the bottom line? Today, we're cutting through the noise to help make informed strategic decisions about the cloud, because in a world of digital transformation, the wrong move can cost you more than just money. Now, let's get into it. Number one, is the cloud really saving businesses money, or is it just shifting costs? Many small to mid-sized businesses adopt cloud solutions with expectations of reduced IT costs, but often hidden expenses arise, such as data transfer fees, storage expansion, and security add-ons. Now, the true costs and benefits versus the hidden costs of cloud adoption can be hidden. And what our goal is to work with every single one of our clients and determine which of the different aspects of the cloud are needed for each additional client. The goal here is to match up a cloud environment that makes sense to increase productivity, increase reliability, and reduce costs. That is all possible in today's infrastructure, again, depending on how your on-prem is set up. We'll get into that more in a minute. How can businesses optimize their cloud spend while maintaining efficiency? This is a difficult one unless you have a team that's dedicated to look at your metrics, sometimes daily, but at least weekly, of actually having a human pair of eyes, spending time inside your network and inside this infrastructure to properly optimize it for management and costs. Because there is ways to do it and drastically reduce costs by managing the data and all of the aspects of the infrastructure properly, but it does need to be done on a very regular basis. What tools or strategies help business avoid cloud sprawl, which is paying for unused resources? We see this all the time. When we take over working for a client, whether they're already in the cloud or they've been attempting to go to the cloud, we often see that there is spun up virtual machines that they intended to use but then never did, or it's a service they were looking into buying and then they just forget to turn it off. This is, again, something with a management organization that's kind of overseeing that entire thing, that has Microsoft, Azure, architecture certified engineers looking at it. You're going to have much different results in the costs that your organization spends. How can small to mid-sized businesses balance the flexibility of the cloud with data security and compliance concerns? This is actually getting a lot easier as time goes on. Microsoft, AWS, Google Cloud, all these platforms have done a much better job in recent years, with especially Azure being the 100 million pound gorilla in the room, so to speak. They're so much better at really getting into making sure that the flexibility is there for the cloud, but then also that data security is super high, keeping all of your compliance concerns at bay. You will essentially, with a good team managing that back-end infrastructure, you're going to have that at your focal point to be able to reference going into making those changes and adapting if there is changes for compliancy concerns. Now, moving to the cloud allows for greater accessibility, but the security risks increase, especially with multi-cloud and hybrid environments. So what are the biggest security challenges small to mid-sized businesses face when moving to the cloud? This is a big one because, again, if you're having an environment that has hybrid, or it's partially, or you really want to move the entire thing, there is a way to do it where you're not compromising security. And then again, you're also not compromising productivity, and it's transparent to the end user, which is going to make your life and your bottom line with productivity and potential revenue generating, depending on your employee, your team, and how they work, they're going to have better returns and be able to manage their current clientele and manage the business a lot easier if you have a team doing this the right way. Yes, you may have to go in stages. Some of our clients go in 2 or 3 stages. Most of them have a 5-step process, or 8 or 10. It just depends how complex is what you have today. Can we make it more simple and reduce costs? I'll give you a great example. We had a client recently that their on-prem infrastructure, they had 11 servers. When we moved that entire on-prem infrastructure to the cloud, they went down to 4. They saved 34.5% just server costs, not including any of the other savings that they ended up taking advantage of. So this is huge. Now, compliance and regulatory concerns. Should businesses be aware of HIPAA, GDPR, and CCPA? Absolutely. Right? When it comes to the cloud itself, in most cases, most of these infrastructures have that basic compliance solution in place. Do need to make sure that then your infrastructure and your end users are following those practices to gain access to and manage their day-to-day and access. But all of those platforms have that built in, and then you do need a experienced IT organization or person, again, a certified specialist in exactly that cloud platform that understands how to merge those two together so you are not missing out on some compliancy, whether it comes to managing one or even all of those. So what security best practices should small to mid-sized businesses follow to safeguard cloud storage data? Really, this is easy. And I'll simplify this by saying that safeguarding yourself and the cloud storage data is something that always should be at the focal point. And again, to my point earlier, this should be done at least weekly, but preferably daily. Where is that data going? How long do we need to keep it? Can I move it to, cold storage or what receptacle can I put that at that I can stay safe, but then also have it just accessible quickly enough in case we need to go retrieve it for any real reason. Now, number 3, is cloud migration worth it for every business, or are some businesses better off staying on-prem? That answer is yes and no. In most cases, most businesses right now today, the last server that they purchased will be their last. It is more likely that you're an organization that the on-prem server you have today will be your last than it will be you're having to stay. Now, that doesn't apply to everybody. There is absolutely cases and situations that one product line or one solution or one database, it's just going to function a lot better and or it's going to be a lot more cost effective to stay on-prem. How we do it at our organization is it's always we're doing the best practices for that client. It is always a win for that organization. We'll always give them, here's the pros and cons of moving it, and here's the pros and cons of keeping it on-prem. Again, the security, in almost every single case, the security moving to the cloud versus on-prem, it's going to be much higher. We can put way higher firewalls and rules and regulations and meeting compliances in the cloud than we can on-prem. Because otherwise, on an on-prem, a firewall, you may have to buy a $250,000 firewall and infrastructure management devices, DMZ, and all kinds of product line to even come close to matching what's already currently in the cloud at pennies on the dollar in most cases. So while cloud solutions offer scalability, they're not always the best fit for every organization. The key factors here for businesses, should they consider before migrating to the cloud, are the industries or business models where the on-prem solutions still make more sense, which does happen time to time. As I mentioned earlier, the hybrid approach allows businesses to get the best of both worlds, which many organizations are in. But if you're launching a business today in 2025, chances are you will never need on-prem infrastructure. Again, there's a handful of organizations that still will, but in the grand scheme of things, it is better if you can launch without infrastructure or without that on-prem. Definitely do it. It will save you in the long run. You can move your office from one country to another with minimal involvement on productivity for your team. Now, that's a wrap on this episode of Digital Dilemma. We've explored the risks, rewards, and realities of cloud adoption, because as technology evolves, staying ahead of the curve isn't just an advantage, it's absolutely a necessity. If today's conversation sparked new ideas, we'd love to hear from you. Please subscribe to The Digital Dilemma on your favorite podcast platform. Leave us a review and connect with us on social media or anywhere else you can find us. The cloud is only as powerful as the strategy behind it. Please, I'm going to read that one more time. The cloud is only as powerful as the strategy behind it, and it needs to have a team that is dedicated, that's constantly looking at what's going on in it to make sure it's properly built and managed and maintained, not just at day one, go live. It has to be constantly monitored and optimized to save you money. So as you navigate your next steps, ask yourself, are you leading the transformation, or is the transformation leading you? We're finding most organizations here that they're the leaders when they move to the cloud, and processing and productivity vastly increases. So I am Nick Dreyfus, and this has been The Digital Dilemma. See you next time. Hope you have a great day.